Shalom, I'm Rosa. Welcome to Standing at the Cross, a 10-part journey. Today is part 7. Would Jesus entrust a person to your care? The crowd has thinned out. The shouting has stopped. By now, many people have left the cross. So I move forward, a few steps closer to the cross, closer to the few people who are still here at the cross. And here, nearer to the foot of the cross, I can see John, the beloved disciple, the only one of the 12 who has come to stand by Jesus. I wonder what is on his mind. Does he feel lonely? Perhaps this is not even on his mind at all. He's standing beside Mary, the mother of Jesus. And I'm now close enough to feel the weight of their grief. Mary is weeping in grief. She's watching her son die, which all mothers would find difficult to bear. She has already lost Joseph. Jesus, as the eldest son, has stepped into his father's place, caring for her, providing for her, protecting her and the family. And now, Mary is losing Jesus. She's losing her eldest son. Yet she does not turn away. She stays at the cross. Mary has always been a woman who ponders things in her heart, treasuring God's words in the quiet places of her soul. Luke records it twice. And now here at the cross, while grieving, she is deep in thought. 33 years earlier, in the Jerusalem temple, an old man named Simeon held the baby Jesus in his arms and spoke directly to Mary. Behold, this child is appointed for the fall and rising of many in Israel, and for a sign that is opposed, and the sword will pierce through your own soul also, so that thoughts from many hearts may be revealed. Luke chapter 2, verses 34 to 35. Mary has carried these words in her heart ever since. A sword piercing her soul. What kind of sword? When would it pierce? How deep would it go? Now she knows. Now she feels it. Here at the foot of the cross, the sword is piercing her soul, exactly as Simeon foretold. Every labored breath of Jesus drives the sword deeper in her soul. Simeon's prophecy is unfolding in real time. She feels the pain of everything unfolding on this day at the crucifixion. The shouting, the mocking, the hammering of nails, the bleeding, the injustice, the cruelty. But she does not scream. She does not collapse. She does not demand answers. She does what she has always done. She ponders. And she does not turn away. She feels the sword piercing her soul, and still her eyes are fixed on Jesus. She sees the wounds, the blood, the strain in his breathing. Life is slipping away. Mary remains at the foot of the cross. I walk closer to the cross. Jesus looks down from the cross and sees the two faces he loves. He takes notice of them. His faithful mother, his faithful disciple. Jesus is now focusing on Mary and John. Jesus looks at his mother, Mary, the woman who gave him birth, the mother who fed him, the mother who taught him when he grew up in the Nazareth home. And when Jesus left home and began his ministry, Mary believed him. She was there at the wedding in Cana when he turned water to wine. She believed when others doubted. The bond between Jesus and Mary is very special. And now in Jesus' final moments, he speaks something extraordinary to Mary. I lean closer. I hear the voice of Jesus. His voice is strained from pain, yet filled with tenderness. He looks at Mary and says, "Woman, behold your son." Woman, not mother. At first it sounds strange to my ears, but then in the Jewish custom, it is a title of respect. I remember this is not the first time Jesus called her woman. At Cana, Jesus' first miracle, he looked at her with the same steady eyes and said the same word, woman. At the beginning of his ministry, Jesus called her woman. And now at the end, he does the same. As Jesus hangs on the cross, dying, he can no longer care for his mother anymore. And so, even while suffering, Jesus ensures his mother will not be left vulnerable, alone, or unprotected. Jesus sees her pain and provides for her. And so, with compassion, he entrusts her to the disciple he loves. Woman, behold your son. John, the beloved disciple, will be a son to Mary. He will take care of her from now on. Now, Jesus turns his head just slightly and looks at John. John is young, likely in his early youth, the youngest of the 12. And right now, he's the only one of the 12 who has come to the cross to stand by Jesus. Jesus says to him, "Behold, your mother." It is a staggering moment. John is not connected to Jesus' family, no blood ties. He is not a cousin, not a relative. He is simply a friend, a disciple, and a beloved one. He is a young man with a loyal heart. And Jesus trusts him. He entrusts his own mother to this young man's care. But why not his own brothers, James, Joseph, Simon, or Judas? Surely they have more right by blood. Perhaps they are not here. But even if they are standing nearby, Jesus chooses John. Why? Because John has proven himself trustworthy. He is here at the cross while all the other disciples fled. John most likely does not expect this from Jesus. He is asked to step into a role he never imagined, to take Mary in as his own mother. This is the moment John becomes more than a disciple to Jesus. He is being a true brother to Jesus. Jesus is dying and can no longer care for his own mother. And now he will take on the responsibility a son would have for his own mother. John has his own mother, his own family. Now, he has two mothers to care for. In this moment, I am close enough to feel the love that flows from Jesus to his mother and John. John steps closer to Mary, and Mary receives him with quiet strength. The two hearts are drawn together by the words of the one they both love. I can feel John's trembling as he accepts the charge of caring for Mary. The sky is darkening. John does something remarkable. From that hour, the disciple took her to his own home. Not tomorrow, not after the burial, not when it becomes convenient. Immediately, Mary moves into John's home right away. John is not connected to Jesus by blood, so in a way, Jesus is forming a new family for Mary, a new family that is not based on bloodline, but on faith and discipleship. After the cross and the resurrection, a new community will emerge, the very community Jesus spoke of at the Last Supper when he gave his disciples a new commandment. John 13:34-35. A new commandment I give to you, that you love one another, just as I have loved you. You also are to love one another. By this, all people will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another. Mary's new home is based on love, based on being a disciple of Jesus. This is the seed of what will bloom after the resurrection. Here at the foot of the cross, the commandment takes flesh. The command is now visible and lived out in front of us by Mary and John. The seed of the church has already begun at the foot of the cross, with two people saying yes to each other, bound by the love of Christ. This is a new creation, a new family in Christ, a bond closer than blood, stronger than death. After Jesus' ascension, Luke tells us that Mary, the mother of Jesus, was with the disciples in the upper room. Acts 1:14. All these with one accord were devoting themselves to prayer, together with the women, and Mary, the mother of Jesus, and his brothers. Mary didn't just stay in John's home. She climbed the stairs to the upper room. She did not isolate herself in grief and sorrow. She went where Jesus' disciples gathered. Mary was not elevated above the community. She was in it. She prayed shoulder to shoulder with the women who followed Jesus, heart to heart with the 120 who waited for Pentecost. And there, remarkably, she was also with her own sons who had now come to believe Jesus. This is the birth of the church, a new creation, a new kind of family to start forming at Pentecost when God's Spirit descends. The church is not a club, not an institution, but a family, a community where every member becomes a brother or sister, a mother or a father. It's a bond closer than blood. So now I stand here, looking at John, looking at Mary. A question begins to rise deeply inside me. If Jesus would entrust Mary to John, if Jesus would place someone so precious into the hands of another, then what does this mean for me? Would Jesus trust someone to my care? Would he place a life, a soul into my hands the way he placed Mary into John's? What Jesus does here at the cross is more than a family arrangement. It is a calling in the new creation, a calling in the church. Take care of the people I love. John received Mary. Mary received John. And this kind of relationship is not exclusive. The church becomes a new family where we receive each other as Christ receives us. Believers become mothers, fathers, brothers, and sisters to one another. Paul understood this. He calls believers brothers and sisters more than 130 times in his letters. Treat older men as fathers, younger men as brothers, older women as mothers, younger women as sisters. The church is not an organization. It is a family formed by the Spirit of God. It is a bond close enough that we truly become a family to one another. So in closing, I must ask myself, and I must ask you too, in the church family, who would Jesus entrust to your care? Would he trust you with someone? Am I trustworthy enough for Jesus to entrust someone in my care? If I cannot care for one person, how can I care for more? Everyone begins with one, just like John, one widow first. And here is something beautiful. Years later, when John wrote his letters, 1 John, 2 John, 3 John, we see that his love and care were not limited to Mary alone. He became a father to the entire community. Every believer who came into his circle became his child. My little children, he calls them. And to all of them, he repeats the one command, love one another. John started with one woman standing at the cross. Who would Jesus entrust to you? We all start with one. Not everyone, not the whole church yet. Just one. Is there a name in your care? A face in your heart? Behold your mother. Behold your son. Behold your brother. Behold your sister. Take them home. Shalom, I'm Rosa. Who is Jesus entrusting to your care? Let us all be found trustworthy. Tomorrow we will continue on to part 8. See you tomorrow at the cross.